When was the last time a hero in a superhero movie had a problem you've actually had? Lack of money, sleep, not being subscribed to Logic Logan on YouTube, or the feeling that nothing you do is going to be enough? Probably been a while. We used to have crazy relatable stuff that disappeared from these movies, and the reason is bigger than any one studio decision. Let me show you what we've lost by rewinding back to 2004. Peter Parker spent the first half of Spider-Man 2 losing things you'd recognize. It starts with his pizza delivery job. Mr. Aziz fires him on the spot for being a couple minutes late, which sounds more relatable 20 years later than it did in 2004. Peter stands there in a thrift store jacket, holding the pizzas like he's apologizing to them. And it does not stop there. He's late for class when he goes to school. Aunt May is being evicted. As a cherry on top, he can't make rent himself either, even though he still sells pictures of Spider-Man as a quote-unquote second job. And it still doesn't stop there. Furthermore, he can't hold on to MJ. He's supposed to be at her play. He doesn't make it. Another time he sees her, she's at an event he's photographing where John Jameson, the astronaut, walks in and tells everyone they're getting married. Life can't be worse, right? Oh, yes it can. His powers start failing on him. He tries to climb a wall and his hands won't stick. He goes to a doctor who checks his eyes and tells him his vision has gone back to needing glasses. The thing that made him Spider-Man is leaking out of him and he can't tell anyone why. Peter goes home and imagines a conversation with his dead uncle about whether he can keep doing this. That's grim. The film is 2 hours long and the supervillain isn't really the conflict, which is what got us so deeply involved in the story. Bruce Wayne has the same problem in Batman Begins. The richest man in Gotham comes home to a mansion he doesn't want and can't get rid of. In fact, he immediately calls it a mausoleum, and the only man waiting for him there is Alfred, the man who practically raised him, as if the sheer size wasn't enough to emphasize how lonely it is over there. Iron Man 3 as Tony Stark have a panic attack in a restaurant. Also one against the side of a car, I think. I'm mixing up movies again. In any case, he just collapses. The suit can fly through space, and the guy inside it can't make it through a Tuesday without his chest season up. Logan opens with the guy hungover in a limo. Or drunk. One of those two, just so he doesn't have to think about how tired he is. And in Man of Steel, before any of the costumes happen, Clark Kent is a kid in a Kansas elementary school covering his ears in a panic from hearing everything too loud, like the clock ticking and pens tapping. His vision is splitting because he could see through walls. His mother has to talk him out from a storage room. These were actual people experiencing the ups and downs of life the way we experience them. What all of them share is something real. The films were built around the person first and the power second. Every problem on the page was a human problem before it was a superhero problem. The villain was always the second thing the hero was dealing with. The first thing was always something you'd recognize. Almost any modern Marvel film does this in reverse. The power comes out first, they never fail unless the plot specifically needs them to. Oh, and their problems come with their powers. The job and identity also play a role, but a different one, which I promise is interesting. I'll get back on that. Almost every superhero film made between 2000 and 2012 ran the older approach. Person first, power second. The powers were a problem the person had to live with the same way real people carry whatever's hardest about them. The whole approach is gone. And there's a second thing the old architecture did that's even harder to find now. Explore it with me. In Spider-Man 2, Peter had problems because he was Spider-Man. It shows you that all of Peter's problems came from one place, the suit. He lost the pizza job because he stopped to chase a thief on the way to a delivery. His grades collapsed because he was up all night swinging through Queens. MJ got engaged because Peter kept missing plays to save people who would never know his name. The eyes were failing because the suit was killing him from the inside. None of these were just bad luck. They all kept coming his way because of that damn suit. The film makes that point loud in about an hour. Peter knows it and he's done with it, so he dumps the suit in an alley. After that, he's living life, getting better grades, attending MJ's plays. Oh, and walking away from people beating someone up in an alley. The film knows exactly what it's doing in that sequence. It's giving Peter the thing he wanted in full so he could feel the true cost of what it means to be a hero. Without the suit, he's hungry, but he can't afford to eat. Tired, but he can sleep. He gets to just live a normal life. None of it has been free. The suit has been taken from him in pieces every day for 2 years. Bruce pays the same kind of bill in The Dark Knight. Joker forces a choice between Rachel and Harvey, gives Bruce both addresses, switches them, and Bruce drives full speed to save the woman he loves and finds Harvey instead. Rachel dies. The film doesn't let Bruce process it. Alfred burns the letter where Rachel was leaving him for Harvey. Bruce never gets to know that the woman he was about to lose anyway died because she chose someone else. All he knows is she's gone, and he was in the suit when it happened. The other cost of being a hero is the silence. Heroes used to do the work and walk home alone. Peter Parker spends Spider-Man 2 selling photos of himself to the newspaper that's calling him a public menace, then using the cash to pay rent on the apartment he's about to lose anyway. Bruce takes the blame for every murder Harvey Dent committed at the end of The Dark Knight, lets the entire city of Gotham believe Batman is the killer they've always suspected, and rides off into the dark with the dogs chasing him. Most ordinary people would have wanted a statue, public credit, maybe even a personal Wikipedia page or a private jet to Little St. James. But they get none of it. The hero went home in silence with no one to talk about it, and on on a bad night, the only person who knew the truth was the guy under the mask. That's another part of the humanity we've lost. The small stuff made these heroes feel like people. Almost no superhero movie does this anymore. And the reason for that is too big to ignore. Let's do a small exercise. Picture trying to make Spider-Man 2 today. You can't open with Peter losing the pizza job. You'd have to open with whichever multiversal threat is collapsing reality this week. The pizza job would get cut to a one-line setup in the second act and never returned to. The ice failing scene would go entirely. MJ getting engaged to the astronaut would get traded for MJ getting erased from the timeline by a memory spell. By the time the runtime got back to Peter being a person, there'd be 12 minutes left and 3 more characters needing screen time. The reason has nothing to do with the writers. They'd write that scene if they could. They'd love to. The structure of the films won't let them. It started with the first Avengers movie. The film ended with a portal over Manhattan and a God King army from another dimension. That was the new ceiling of threats. Every Marvel film after that either had to match it, find some way to write around it, like another universe or something, or apologize for not matching it. The ones that went bigger kept setting the bar higher. Within 5 years, the multiverse was the default scale. Once you're at that scale, the math takes over. A 2-hour film has 120 minutes. Wow, quick maths. Holy crap, am I actually smart? No. Okay, let's not get out of ourselves here. If you spend the first 10 on a sorcerer being sent across timelines to stop a goddess from rewriting reality, you've already used up most of the budget for personal stuff. You can't cut from that to a guy crying in a tow truck because his marriage is falling apart. The second scene would feel insane. So all the personal stuff gets cut, or it gets compressed into a montage, or it gets handed to a sidekick character, or it gets saved for post-credits scenes, whatever. The math just can't add up. Then the multiverse made it worse. Once a character can have 6 versions of himself standing in the same room, you stop caring about any one of them as much. Tom Holland's Peter Parker shares the screen with Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield's. They compare wounds, they make jokes, they do that pointy at each other thing. The thing that made any of them feel like a person. The fact that this Peter has these scars and made these choices gets thinned out by the existence of the other two. Loki stopped being a character and became a function. He's a fixed point in the timeline now, who has to be where he has to be so the next plot point can happen. The TV show is mostly explaining time travel rules at this point. Tom Hiddleston is a great actor and the show wasted him. And what about Doctor Strange, might you be asking? Well, Doctor Strange has no time to be a person. He spends every film he's in being the one guy who has to fix the universe before the credits roll. There's no scene where he eats breakfast or gets to be like lonely. Well, maybe that one film when he gets his hands messed up and stuff. But then again, that's before the powers. I don't know if that counts. Now, how many friends does he have outside of that magical cult he's in? What kind of things does he enjoy the most outside of saving the world the whole time? I mean, we do get that romance subplot in Multiverse of Madness that the film resolves in 6 lines of dialogue because the rest of the runtime needs to go to a giant flaming demon eye. We have one film where he buries himself because that's the most emotional stuff you can make if there aren't that many people close to Doctor Strange. We also get that girl he cares about, which I completely forgot the name of, but her relationship to Strange is established, I guess, because of her dreamwalking powers or something. I probably should have watched it again, but that's not even the final piece. The final piece is about heroes and who they were. They used to do the work in private. Now, they do it on camera, just like an OnlyFans creator. They get statues, unlike an OnlyFans creator, except for probably a couple. They hang out together at the tower. They get celebrated by entire civilizations. The Eternals get worshipped as gods by Aztecs and Babylonians. There's no version of these films where the hero takes off the mask and goes home alone, because there's no version of these films where the hero is alone or has to keep most of his identity secret. When No Way Home ended with the memory spell, which was the one moment in recent Marvel where heroism actually cost a hero something, the very next thing the franchise did was set up ways to walk it back. Cameos, hints, a film about getting Peter's life put back together, tease after tease, that the cost wasn't really permanent. The films can't sit with the real cost for 2 minutes before they start trying to undo it. Pull back and look at all 3 together. Bigger stakes, more versions of every character, more celebration around the heroism, more plot than runtime to fit it all in. Each one made the next one easier to keep doing. None of them was a single chosen decision someone made on purpose. They just kept compounding. Nobody had time to miss rent anymore. The films told us they were getting bigger. Budgets were getting bigger. And that means you have to make more awesome CGI stuff, because spending more money apparently means the movie gets better because of it. It doesn't. It trades away the parts we love. Does that mean all the movies are doomed? No, not at all. A few films saw the trade getting made and refused to take the deal. Take The Batman. Matt Reeves' Bruce Wayne still lives in an empty room. He doesn't go to galas, whatever. He doesn't have a public identity to maintain. Pattinson plays him like a guy who hasn't slept in 3 years. There's a scene where Bruce walks through Wayne Manor and you can hear his footsteps echo. I mean, talk about isolated. The film also refuses cosmic stakes. The villain isn't a god or an alien or a multiversal threat. The Riddler is a guy in a basement who watched too many true crime YouTube videos. The whole movie ends with Bruce Wayne wading through Whatever. Through floodwater, holding a flare to lead survivors out of a wrecked subway stadium. Logan refuses as well. I do keep coming back to this movie a lot. Did you guys enjoy this movie? Really? I want to know. Let me know in the comments. Lol. In there, Wolverine didn't get a redemption arc or open a door at the end where the studio could bring him back for one more team up if we're not counting Deadpool and Wolverine. He bleeds out in front of Laura. He stays dead. And the film stays a film about a guy who finally got to stop running. Joker. Yes, we're talking about the Joker because it's awesome. The 2019 movie ties that emotional weight back in. Arthur Fleck is a man falling apart on camera. He's just sad and getting sadder until something snaps. The film knows what it is. It just lets a man come apart in real time. Daredevil refuses to silence problem in its own way. Matt Murdock spends most of the show going to confession, sitting across from a priest and trying to admit out loud that he hurts people. He wakes up bleeding into his sheets and stitches himself together over the bathroom sink, carries the cost in his body and in his faith. What these films share is what they refuse to do. They all said no to one part of what the bigger franchises kept saying yes to. The Batman said no to scale. Logan said no to walking it back. Joker said no to celebrating it. Daredevil said no to letting the cost ever fully heal. None of them got to be in the cinematic universe that month. None of them got the toy line. The refusals were the price of the realism. Heroism used to be a job a person did when no one was looking. It took something from them, and they had to live with it afterwards. There was no one to thank them. Now it's an event, cameras, statues, sponsors, island trips. Okay, maybe not that one. The films can go back to making the other thing anytime they want. The actors are there, the money is already in the budget, though maybe the story isn't there anymore. Only if you start it the right way, by making someone craft the suit. Why is that even important, you might ask? Well, click here to find out.